Carrie here from the Female Entrepreneur Association, and welcome to a weekly dose of inspiration to build a successful business. So, I have a question for you before we get started, and it is this. Have you got a big goal that you have set for yourself that you have been putting off? So maybe it's that you want to do a webinar and you've just been putting off doing it. Or maybe it's that you really want to organise a retreat. Or maybe you have a goal to start a podcast or a video series and want to interview really successful people. But for some reason, you've just not been doing it. So I want you to get that goal in your mind, and then in the session, you and me are going to work together and we're going to figure out, we're going to turn it around so that you can actually make it happen. You start making progress towards achieving your goal. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of how to do it, how to stop putting off achieving your goal, I want to share a story with you. So at the beginning of this year, I set myself a goal to do in-person interviews with really successful entrepreneurs and best-selling authors and people doing amazing things in this world. And one of the first things I did after coming up with this goal was to sit down and write a wish list of all the people I really wanted to interview. And this wish list is a little bit crazy. It's like really out there with incredible people on it. And as much as there was a part of me that was really excited, there was a part of me that just freaked out and thought, how am I going to do this? Like, I don't know these people. I've never done in-person interviews before. I don't have a film crew. Like, what am I thinking? I don't know how to do it. However, I decided to step up and that I was going to make it happen somehow and that I would figure it out. Anyway, about a week later, I got an email from Gabrielle Bernstein. She sent it out to her entire network, and I clicked into the email and I read it, and in part of this email, she said that she was going to be coming to London to speak at the Ignite conference, which is organised by Hay House. So the little cogs in my head started turning, and I was like, I have to interview her when she comes over because she was on my wish list. And I was like, it's a sign, I've got to do this. I've got to make it happen. So without thinking about it, I emailed Hay House and I was just like, I know that Gabrielle Bernstein is going to be speaking at the Ignite conference. I would love to do a video interview with her if this is possible. And just put it out there before my brain got a chance to think about it, because I just didn't even know how I was going to even make it happen. Like I said, I didn't have a film crew or anything. So I put that out there. Shortly after that, I realised that Mustin Kip was also speaking at the Ignite conference. So Mustin Kip, who's a best-selling author as well, he's the founder of The Daily Love, and he was also on my wish list. So I was just like, oh my gosh, he's also speaking. I have to reach out again and figure out a way to interview Mustin as well, because imagine being able to interview Gabby and Mustin in the same day, two people on my wish list who it felt like it was seemingly impossible to be able to do a video interview with them in person, and here it was as a potential opportunity. I was like, oh my gosh, this might actually happen. So as much as I was freaking out, I reached out to Hay House and we managed to organise these interviews. As a little side note, I will say, I did have a contact at Hay House because back in 2012 I went along to a talk that Gabby was giving, and at the end you could buy her book and she would sign the book for you. So I got the book, went and got it signed, and I asked her if I could interview her, and she put me in touch with Hay House, who organised her interviews. So just connecting the dots back, that's how that part of this whole thing transpired, but that's a completely different story for another day. So I had this opportunity, and whilst part of me was really excited, there was a huge part of me, like I said, that was really terrified and freaked out by the whole situation. I needed to figure out what on earth I was going to do about a film crew, what I was going to do about filming and location, and all of that stuff. And so I began to ask questions to people that I thought could help me, and reach out to different people, and started fiddling around trying to figure out how on earth I was going to make this actually happen. And so managed to sort some stuff out, booked the videographer, booked the venue where I was going to do the filmings. I really prepared myself, I showed up, and I gave it my all, and the interviews were a huge success. And the reason I'm sharing this story with you is because I did not have it all figured out. When I set that goal for myself, it terrified me. I had no idea how I was going to make it happen, and I think so many people might look and think, yeah, but she just knew how to do it. Well, she just didn't know how to do it. Like, I had no idea. It pushed me so far out of my comfort zone. There were so many times when I had these thoughts of like, Carrie, what are you doing? Just don't do it. Why are you putting yourself through the stress and the uncomfortableness of this situation? There were so many times where I thought like that. And that's the thing. When we set ourselves a big goal, there are so many things we don't know how to do. And so often we get stuck and we align ourselves with that. We align ourselves with those thoughts of not knowing. So for example, if you wanted to do a webinar, maybe it's that you've been thinking things like, well, I don't know how to set it up or what platform to use. I don't know how much of the content I should give away for free in the webinar or what I'm going to say. I don't know how to close a sale. I don't know how I'm going to get people to come along to the webinar. And so you focus so much on that side of things that you never do anything because you don't know. You're aligned so much with that. It's the same if you want to organise a retreat. Maybe you're there thinking, well, I don't know what price I'm going to charge. I don't know how I'm going to get speakers to come along. I don't know how to pick a venue, or I don't know what the best date would be. And I don't know how I'm going to get people there. And then what if no one comes? And what if I make a fool of myself? And what if it's a disaster? And equally, it's the same for if you want to do a weekly video or start sending out emails. It's like, well, so many people get caught up and stuck on the thoughts of, but I don't know what to say in my emails. And I don't know what value I can offer, and how much should I give away for free, and how often should I be emailing them, and what if I look like an idiot making them, and what if people think that what I'm saying is stupid, and what if I make a fool of myself? It's the exact same thing. So often we'll set ourselves these goals and get so hung up on the not knowing and the fear of the situation that we want to run a mile in the other direction, which I think is a perfectly natural response. How can we not be freaked out when there's so much we don't know? There is so much that potentially might go wrong. It's hard not to feel freaked out. You know, there's always going to be that part of us that's just like wants to run a mile from the chaos, the messiness, the stress, the anxiety, the fear, the uncomfortableness of being in a place where you want to achieve something but you just don't know how. There is so much uncertainty that I think there's always going to be a part of us that want to run, like I said, a mile in the other direction to get away from feeling like that, because who wants to feel like that? Not many of us, you know, and that's what makes us human. But we have to step it up. We have to realise that if we want to be able to make our goals happen, then we have to align ourselves with the good stuff. We have to stop getting hung up on this stuff that we don't know. So in order to do that, we have to start thinking, well, who can help us? What resources can help me? And what small thing can I do right now that will get me towards where I want to be? We have to focus on those questions that are actually going to help us to move forward, and not on the statements and the questions that are going to hold us back, like, but I don't know how to do this. So I want you to think right now about this big goal that you've set yourself that you've been putting off. And I want you to get a pen and a piece of paper, and the first thing you need to do is think about how you feel about the idea of trying to make your goal a reality. How does that feel? You know, when you think about how you're going to do it, what thoughts come up, what feelings come up, what questions pop into your head. So, you know, maybe there's good stuff and maybe there's bad stuff, you know, but pay attention to what maybe the bad stuff is. You know, are you thinking, well, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, and what if I can't manage to make that happen? And pay attention to the stuff that you're getting tangled up in and that's holding you back as it's catching you there. And then once you've done that, realise that it's okay to feel like this. It means that you're an actual human being. That's okay. But then be willing and open to aligning yourself more with the good stuff, more with those questions of who can help me, what resources can help me, what thing could I do right now that will get me a step closer to my goal. How am I going to feel when I've actually managed to make this happen? Get connected more with the excitement of the situation, with what is possible, what you can do, what is doable. Align yourself with that rather than the stuff that you feel isn't doable and the stuff that you don't know how to do. Because once you start aligning yourself with that, and by the way, when I say aligning yourself, what I mean is that you're making a conscious effort to focus your energy there. And this requires you to be willing to consciously pay attention to what you're thinking on a daily basis. You know, get a post-it note, stick it on your computer that says, what am I thinking right now? What have I been thinking about in the last half an hour? And what are those thoughts doing for me? Are they getting me to where I want to be, or are they holding me back? So you've got to start paying attention, and if you get stuck in that mindset of being like, I don't know how to do it, I don't know how to do it, I'll go and make a cup of tea, you know, which is something that probably a lot of us do, I'll go and do something else, you know, pay attention and be like, no. And it's a conscious decision to be like, no, actually, who can help me? What resources can help me? What could I do right now? Even a tiny little step that will help get me closer towards my goal and stay connected with that side of things. If you can do that, you will have massive breakthroughs, but it's going to take so much willpower, it's going to take so much effort, it's going to take so much discipline and mental strength to help to stay on track and to keep moving forward so that you can make it happen. You're going to probably have to experience so much uncomfortableness, which you're going to want to run a mile in the other direction away from, but you've got to hang in there in that uncomfortableness and know that you can make it happen, because that's where you'll have breakthroughs. That's where the magic happens and you actually push through, get to the next level and reach your goal. And that's what business is about. It's about constantly pushing yourself to achieve these amazing things. That's how people build successful businesses, because like I said, you don't know half the time what you're doing. I didn't know when I was set out with that goal to interview these amazing people, I didn't know how I was going to do it. There were so many parts of that jigsaw puzzle that terrified me and that scared me and that I just did not know how to do. But I aligned myself with the good stuff, with the stuff that was going to help me to move forward. And yes, the other stuff was definitely 100 million% there. Those fears were there, those doubts were there, those worries were there. That feeling of wanting to run a mile in the other direction was there, but I stepped up and made the decision and the choice that I was going to move forward and I was going to do my best to make it happen. And that's what you have to do. And when you do that, you will make your big goal that you've been putting off happen. So think about that big goal now and make a pact with yourself and make that conscious decision that you are going to do what it takes. You're going to step up. You're going to be okay with the messiness. You're going to be okay with the stress. You're going to be okay with the fact that you're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be okay with the fact that you don't know how to do everything, but you're going to focus on the positive stuff. You're going to focus and you're going to ask yourself the questions that are going to lead you in the right direction. The stuff that you do know how to do. You're going to align yourself with the people that can help you, with the resources that can help you, and you're going to keep taking those little steps day in, day out that are going to get you towards where you want to be. So now I want you to leave a comment in this moment and write down what your one big goal is that you've been putting off, and write down the one big thing that you're going to do right away that's going to help you to start making progress towards making it happen again. So no matter what your goal is, whether it is the webinar, whether it's organising a retreat, whether it's trying to get your products stocked in a store, whether it's starting an email newsletter, whether it's starting doing a video series, a podcast, whatever that thing is, you've got to realise that you can make it happen and that you've got to align yourself with the good stuff. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope that you make your big goal that you've been putting off a reality. If you have enjoyed this video but you're not a subscriber, then make sure you subscribe. You can do so over on the blog or on YouTube, and also hit like if you've enjoyed it and share it with other people if you think that they might enjoy this video too. And I will see you next week for another dose of inspiration.